J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings is one of the most beloved works of fiction ever created, and the epic scale of his world building, including the conflicts between different groups and the war waged between good and evil, make this an awesome setting to film the best movie series of all time, in my opinion. Real-time strategy games like Battle for Middle-earth 1 and 2, and also war games on the board. Let's take a look at two of my favorite Lord of the Rings games that take the battle to save Middle-earth to the board. Lord of the Rings Risk and Lord of the Ring. Lord of the Rings Risk is themed based on the original Risk board game. In Risk, armies attack adjacent territories, and the rolling of dice determines who wins and who loses troops. Reinforcements are gained by territory bonuses, card bonuses, and the number of territories controlled. These mechanics are all present in Risk, but this version comes with a few significant differences. The first difference is the existence of the Ring of Power. Following the tale of Frodo Baggins and the Fellowship of the Ring moves one territory each turn for a die roll above 3 until it reaches Mount Doom, destroying the ring. There are 18 territories, and since every player rolls the die, the game can move along decently, with some variability on length based on die rolls. Considering I have played many Risk games that have sat in a stalemate for hours with little hope of ending anytime soon, the knowledge that a close game will end at some point is welcome. The second difference is the option to introduce alliances and teams. In standard Risk, every player is in their own team and needs to dominate the entire board to win. In a 4-player game of Lord of the Rings Risk, players are allowed to make alliances or teams with 2 good armies versus the 2 evil armies, and they square off to decide the fate of Middle-earth. Alliances mean that the winner is the highest scoring player on the highest scoring team. This creates an interesting us versus them, but I'll backstab you when convenient dynamic by not giving your teammate the support they need, and self-serving when victory is assured. On the other hand, the other variant, teams, means the sides win together and lose together, allowing full collaboration between the players on a side. Playing teams is the most enjoyable variant to me, as I can work together with another player and we give one another support to secure our victory. Or we get outplayed by the other team and the opponents do that together. The third difference is the presence of leaders. Leaders give bonuses when rolling dice. Since there are a limited number of leaders in this game, the placement of these leaders and where players focus their energies creates a variety of strategies that players can use to attack, defend, and counter. Fortresses. There are many strategic locations on the board called fortresses. These strongholds give a bonus to the defender when rolling dice, which makes these territories more difficult to capture. That bonus can be stacked with the leader bonus, making the fortresses very difficult to capture. Additionally, territories with strongholds give additional points to determine the winner at the end of the game. Lord of the Rings Risk is my favorite variant of Risk, both because I love the Middle-earth map and theme, as well as the different strategic gameplay that these variants I mentioned add to the game. With the Fellowship moving toward Mordor, the game will end at some point, and the players who play fairly quickly, the game might actually not take that long compared to other war games. This is a great game for 4 players. This is a great game for players who love Lord of the Rings or Risk or want some depth of strategy and teamwork, but not multiple mechanics and rules. Also, as long as you don't start this game in the middle of the night, you can get to bed at a decent hour. War of the Ring, on the other hand, is truly epic in scale. There are actually many similar aspects between the two games, in that players want to capture territories held by the other side, the game can be played in teams, reinforcements can be added to the board, fortresses, dice rolls to determine who loses armies, and the Fellowship moving toward Mordor. These are just a few of the mechanics that are similar between the two games, not to mention a beautiful map of Middle-earth. But when you dig deeper, this game fully immerses players in the stakes and situation present in Tolkien's story. The core mechanic of War of the Ring is that players take actions based on dice rolls. While each symbol rolled gives a few different options, players are limited in a way that reflects that you can't always do what you want. The Fellowship's movement toward Mordor is not as linear as the Lord of the Rings Risk. Players can slow down, speed up, or even be foiled by the hunt for the ring. The Fellowship destroying the ring is a path to victory for the good side, but causing Frodo to succumb to the dark power of the ring before destroying it is a victory for the evil side. This can be treated as a side quest by either side, or they can divert significant resources and energy from the battlefield to focus on this path to victory. Each member of the Fellowship is represented, and if the good player wants to, the members of the Fellowship that aren't ring bearers can peel off to lead armies or rally factions against the evil of Mordor and Isengard. These elements reflect the give and take both sides exhibit in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Speaking of the political situation and fighting, unlike the war that's already present in Risk and the unlimited troops available in that game, the battlefield in War of the Ring is a little more complex. There's not a war at the beginning of this game, and many of the good, free people's armies take a good amount of convincing that they are actually in danger and need to join the fight. Additionally, once the free peoples do join the fight, they have a limited number of reinforcements, reflecting that the armies are made up of people who stay dead if they die on the battlefield. They are valuable and shouldn't be taken for granted. Conversely, Mordor and Isengard can continually use the same army pieces again and again, reflecting their ability to turn that which is dead into an evil orc or ringwraith. This turns many battles on the battlefield into an onslaught of evil attacks against the free peoples who are trying to hold them off and survive long enough to take a strategic territory or survive just long enough that the Fellowship can reach Mount Doom to destroy the ring. While it is possible for the free peoples to win on the battlefield, it requires them to overcome massive advantages on the part of their opponents to find victory. Cards, characters, and the usage of ring powers further flavor the War of the Ring game, which I typically expect to take longer to play than the Lord of the Rings Risk. That being said, the decision to play Lord of the Rings Risk or War of the Ring won't come down to game length, which might end up similar with the deliberate game of Lord of the Rings Risk versus a game of War of the Ring where the players fully understand the rules. Instead, the rules element is the key. If players want a simpler game that they are introduced to for the first time, or is an easy refresher of the known Risk game, I'm picking Lord of the Rings Risk. If, on the other hand, I am playing with people who are eager to explore the ins and outs of all War of the Ring has to offer, and they have the time and stamina to learn and understand the rules of the game, I'm playing War of the Ring. I love both, and they are both on my shelf, and they aren't going anywhere. Knowing they're available helps to give me flexibility when playing with my fellow Tolkien fans. Which of these games do you find more appealing? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.